or they're permanent residents of the United States, we're going to give you a work permit for 2 years. And be careful, because during those 2 years, now that you're registered with the government, you better watch everything that you do.
That's right.
Because now you're registered with the government. Now tell me, that seems to me to be a practical, sensible move in the right direction while the Congress of the United States finally comes about concluding with comprehensive immigration reform. And I want to let everybody know, look, I know lots of people are left out. This isn't the immigration reform that we've been fighting for. This is a step in the right direction. And today we were in the Fifth Circuit, because this is a law of land. This is a law, this is a land of laws. And we went to the Fifth Circuit today and we argued.
And what is it we go
And we made an argument that the president's executive order should be sustained. Now some of you will say, well, Luis, don't you think this is an expansive executive order, something unprecedented? Let me tell you something. Abraham Lincoln didn't go to the U.S. Senate. Abraham Lincoln didn't go to the Senate before he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. He did the right thing, signed that Emancipation Proclamation, and freed the slaves. Didn't go and ask anybody in the Senate or the House to do it. That was an executive order. And subsequently, after the Civil War, you know what we did as a nation? We changed and amended the Constitution to reflect that action of the President of the United States.
Let's go to war, baby.
Let me just say one other thing to everybody here, so if you think this is expansive. President Truman, after President Truman, don't engage. Don't engage. Let's continue to have a conversation here and keep ourselves on the positive. Keep ourselves on the positive. There are a lot of people that they count on us. They need us. They don't need us to be distracted. They don't need us to be set aside. Okay? So let me just say this. Think about it, World War II. We fought fascism. And we defeated fascism in Asia. And we defeated fascism in Europe, the Nazis. And then after World War II, after that was defeated, guess what? They still had segregated armed forces. They had black units, they had Mexican units, they had Puerto Rican units, they had Asian units, they had Indian units, they had units of every stripe and every color. Segregated the armed forces of the United States. Let me just say to you, President Truman didn't go to the Senate, and President Truman didn't go to the House of Representatives and ask for a vote to desegregate the armed forces of the United States. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And in 1963, 15 years later, the Congress of the United States finally caught up with President Truman and passed the Civil Rights Act, ending separate but equal ever in this nation. Understand that what the president has done is exactly what other presidents have done in other historical moments in the nation when they have seen injustice and unfairness. So I am saying to you tonight, we're going to do good. We're going to make sure. Now, I want to let everybody know this is not going to be easy. You got to do some stuff. Here's what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to start a civil war.
You got to prove when you got here to the United States that you've been here for 5 years. So please put together all your documents. What does that mean? Well, everybody got a cell phone these days, right? So, call Sprint or AT&T, whoever, and make sure they send you your bills with your name for the last 5 years, right? Get your medical records. Go to the dentist, right? Go to the doctor. Get those records. Hey, I know a lot of people like to send money back to their loved ones. All those receipts that when you sent money back to Western Union and MoneyGram and you sent them money, put all those things together. Your rent receipts. Many of you baptized your children. Put those documents together. All of those things. And here's what I want you to do. Think about it. I don't need something for every month during the last 5 years. I need something for every 6 months. So if you've got something for January, find me something for July. And then find me something for November. Find me something that shows that there is in a broader period of 4 to 5 months every year for the last 5 years. And guess what? Go to the agency, go to Matricola Consular. You can get one from the Mexican government. What does that mean? That attests to who you are so you can identify yourself when you present yourself before the American government. And you need to get a birth certificate. And start getting them now, because when we finally win in the Fifth Circuit, there's going to be a rush for all the Matricola Consulares to get those birth certificates. So get your Matricola Consular now and get your birth certificate if it's from Guatemala. In Chicago, people got to line up for the Polish and got to line up for the Irish embassy and got to line up for the Philippines. I know everybody thinks everybody's from Mexican that's undocumented. It's just not true. Millions of people come from all over the country. Every time I come down to Arizona, they say, secure the border, secure the border. Let me just tell you, there are 5 million undocumented workers in the United States that never crossed that border. You know what they crossed? LAX. They crossed O'Hare. They crossed JFK. They came to this country in maniac ways. Nobody ever talks about those immigrants. Nobody ever raises an issue about those immigrants. They said if we just secure the border, everything would be fine. They would still be. You know what Raul and I are for? Closing and making sure that every border in America is secure. Not just the one between the United States and Mexico. That wouldn't solve the problem. So I just want to say, look, there's, and sometimes I watch the commercials when I come down here. I said, I hope all those Mexican actors are getting a little money for all those times they're on TV. And all those mean, nasty commercials, which don't represent the best spirit of America. So all I'm trying to say is, look, we want to secure the border. We want to secure every border. But the first way you start is by ending the illusion that somehow 12 million people are going to deport. I got to tell you, I'm going to leave here, and next weekend I'm going to Portland. And then I'm going to go out to, I'm going to be in Washington State, and I'm going to be in Oregon. And you know what I'm going to see? Yo voy a ir a ver la gente pescando. ¿Ah? ¿Cómo dice? Pisteando. Sometimes I get it confused between that Puerto Rican and Mexican Spanish. Right? No, I'm going to go out there. And what are they going to be? Man, I ate some of the most delicious grapes picked with foreign hands. I picked some of the most delicious oranges and apple picked with foreign hands. The fact is, nobody in America goes about the business of having children, educating those children so they can go in the fields and pick the fruit and the vegetable that we rely on. Nobody does that. But that is necessary, hard, back-breaking work and should be rewarded because they sustain a vital industry for the United States of America. They put the food that we eat each and every day. I've been all over this country. And I'm going to tell you something. I see who it is. The fact is the federal government will tell you that 75% of all the agricultural workers in America are undocumented. If they actually left the United States of America and self-deported, there would be nothing at your grocery store for you to pick up and eat. So, I just want to say it. We need immigration as we've always needed it in the past. I need you to go out there, get your birth certificate. So if you're undocumented, you've been here 5 years, ponme todos esos documentos. Entonces vete a la matrícula consular y a tu consulado, sea guatemalteco, salvadoreño, y busca una matrícula, una identificación. If you have a pasaporte, porque tú eres gente, pues, that's even better. But I'm not saying you gotta get a pasaporte, but if you got one, entonces va como de limusina, ¿verdad? That's like the Mercedes-Benz de identificación, pasaporte. But you can go get your passport. And then what you need to do is, you need to get the birth certificates of your children. And you need to put that in a file. And you need to put all those things together. Because let me let you in on something. If you have never been before immigration agents before, and you've been here 5 years, and you can put those documents together, and you are stopped by an immigration agent, you should simply tell the immigration agent to let you go, that you are the parent of American citizens, that you've been here for 5 years, that you have not committed any crimes in America, and they should simply let you go because you are not a priority for deportation, given the president's executive order. Now, that's where we're at. Every time I come to Tucson, there's even better news. And eventually, we're going to come here one day when we're going to fill this auditorium and auditoriums just like it across this country as we legalize the millions of people. I'm going to end with these words with you because I was thinking, as I was traveling around, it occurred to me. I went down to Birmingham, Alabama, and I was in South Carolina and North Carolina. I was in Charlotte. And it occurred to me something, because I kept thinking about this argument that they keep making. So I want to share with you, because mucha gente me dice, pero Gutierrez, tú eres puertorriqueño, ¿por qué te importa tanto? ¿Ah? ¿Por qué te importa tanto? Y le voy a explicar por qué. I want to tell you why. My mom and dad, my mom came here, she was 18 years old. She didn't speak a lick of English. My dad came here, he was 20. He didn't speak English either. They didn't have a coat. They didn't know what it was like. But you know what? They were desperate for a new life. And so they came to America. They went to New York. And let me just tell you something. It wasn't like 1 million Puerto Ricans showed up in New York and there was a welcome mat. Everybody saying, what a great idea, you guys all showed up. 1952, it was still separate but equal in the United States. Segregation was still the law of the land when my mom and dad came here. And they faced discrimination, and they faced bigotry, and they faced hatred. And let me just tell you, they were American citizens of the United States of America. And that's what they faced. So don't let anybody fool you that this is about who's an American citizen and who's legal and who's not legal. Because my parents came here completely legal to the United States of America. And yet, this is what they said about my mom and my dad in 1952. They said that they came here looking for welfare. They said that they came here because they were criminals. They said that they came here bringing tropical diseases that were going to destroy America. Sound familiar to the arguments that are made today about immigrants? They were wrong about my mom and my dad, and they're wrong about the immigrants that come to America today. And my parents came here as American citizens from that island. But you know what? They came at a wonderful time, 1952. Because 2 years later, Rosa Parks said, I'm a woman, and I'm going to sit wherever I want on this bus. And men and women in America throughout the South said, no more will we tolerate separate but equal. A civil rights movement came about that gave us a Civil Rights Act and a Voting Rights Act. And because of that Civil Rights Act and that Voting Rights Act, there is a 4th congressional district and an opportunity for me to serve in the Congress of the United States because of all those men and women that were lynched, all those men and women who had their churches burned and their children murdered in their churches during Sunday services. Dogs on them. Democrat. All of those things happened so that we could get. And I just want to send a very clear message to everybody. You know what? I think about my mom and dad. I think about them each and every day. And I see my mom and dad in the faces and in the lives of immigrants today. And you know what? A lot of people gave up a lot. A lot. They gave up their lives. They gave up their freedom so that I could have the right to one day speak to you as a member of Congress. And so maybe there wasn't anybody in 1952 to stand up for the immigrants that came to America then. But there is somebody in this year to stand up for the immigrants, because there was a civil rights movement in America that gave me a voice in the Congress of the United States, and I'm going to stand up and speak for those, even though no one stood up and spoke for my mom and dad, because that's the right thing to do. So understand, this is a great country. My grandfather was a citizen, my dad was a citizen, I'm a citizen, and we're going to make sure that everybody else becomes a citizen of the United States of America. Thank you so much. Thank you, Congressman. Gutierrez. Thank you so much. We're going to continue. We have a set of very capable lawyers. We know there's a lot of questions. Sabemos que hay muchas preguntas que muchas de ustedes pueden tener. But I think as we continue, remember to be respectful. We're trying to create a forum of conversation and information, and also understanding that this is that we're talking about also the future and the opportunities that we have to serve humanity in so many ways. I'd like to introduce now from the American Immigration Lawyers Association, please welcome Rubén Luis Reyes.